Hi everybody, and welcome back to Sketch to See. This episode is a little bit different than my traditional episodes. I wanted to talk to you about flying yachts. Yes, you heard me correctly, flying yachts. But not like the typical America's Cup style yachts. I want to talk about flying cruising yachts. Full liveaboard, cruising, flying boats. Are they a reality? Are they possible? Has technology come that far? You'll just have to stay tuned and see as I reveal everything I know about flying yachts in this episode. So this episode actually came about because I've been having a number of conversations recently with people I've met through the channel or through social media about the ups and downs of getting involved with a new build. Not necessarily your own custom yacht from a yard that's done production for years, but more specifically being the first to work with a yard on a length or model that's never been built before. Or even more interesting, working with a brand new yard that's never built anything before. There are a few yards out there right now that are selling the concept of flying yachts. A yacht anywhere from 60 to 300 feet long, consistently performs at speeds of 40 plus knots, is fully outfitted for you to live on board for up to 3 weeks at a time, and would be fully foiling under the right conditions. This is what I'm thinking of as I go forward here. This topic is obviously close to my heart as we're building a never been done before project with HH Catamarans. While HH is a tried and tested yard with the awards to prove the quality of their boats, our 88 foot is the first of its length and the first yacht HH has built with a flybridge. For a long time now, HH Catamarans has been wanting to jump on a build in the 77 to 88 foot range, but we were the first ones to get on board. Full plans for our yacht didn't exist when we got started. We needed plans, molds, naval architecture, the construction space, you get the picture. Regardless, I felt confident going ahead for a number of reasons. As I mentioned above, HH has a proven track record. They've had a number of successes and they've had a few close calls or near fails as well. It's not really my intention or my place to go into the history between HH and Gunboat, but I can tell you that they had an opportunity for HH to fail before they even got started. But through their founders' tenacity and the team's willingness to work hard and adapt, they're still standing. They have learned from their mistakes and right now are all around a great yard for us to work with. This model in particular is new to them, but the construction methods and the plan that they would be following to build it were not. While they were promising us a fast, high-performance yacht with top speeds beyond any competitors for our specification, their claims weren't outlandish. We were going to get a yacht that was faster and more luxurious than any comparable model out there, which might sound a little ambitious, but we had already seen their capabilities proven on a smaller scale through the other HH yachts. They had the team, the facility, and the experience to deliver on their promise. Now, this isn't to say that everything has gone smoothly from start to finish. And what I've been learning about our build has really got me thinking about some of the other concept yachts out there and the feasibility of these projects that some of these new yards are proposing. There are a number of things to consider as you get involved in a project like this. I've broken it down into several different categories. First is contracting. Second is pricing, which applies to development, including totally unforeseen but necessary requirements associated with the new venture and the cost of construction as well. Third is actual construction. Fourth, supplies. Finally, and fifth, classification and registration. Contracting. It took us almost a year to get through the contracting process, to break everything down and clearly define the actual spec sheet. It's actually somewhat of a circular process. There are so many individual decisions that need to be made at this point that will have a ripple effect through your entire build and could greatly compromise your overall enjoyment of the yacht if not done correctly from the start. Some of these items to consider are range, apparent wind speed limits, refrigeration, power generation, water generation, guest accommodation, and crew accommodation. Within accommodation, you will also have to consider what level of guest experience you're hoping to provide. Is it motor yacht quality, race yacht quality, cruising yacht quality? Furthermore, once you have made that decision, you have to consider what amenities go with each class of service. For example, food is a major part of any guest experience on board. With that comes refrigeration, power consumption and generation, high quality appliances, and unfortunately, weight, your number one enemy. Before I go any further into the experience, I'll break down a few of the above mentioned points. Let's talk about range. Range is imperative to consider and ties into all of your other systems on board. It's best to identify what you're trying to achieve first and then work backwards from there. If you want a flying yacht, I think it's safe to assume that you will not have much battery storage capacity on board just due to the sheer weight of the batteries alone. And you can't rely on power generation from solar on demand. While they can be emptied for racing, this only upsizes your diesel and hydrogen tanks, as you'll have to run a generator most of the time for refrigeration and power for your sail controls. Some companies are promising that their concepts will run on hydrogen power alone. While I do agree that hydrogen power is the future, I had the opportunity to discuss with Paula Hakes at HH, who has done extensive research into hydrogen as a fuel source, and there are a few things to consider. While hydrogen is superior to lithium-ion batteries and diesel engines and generators, both in terms of weight and power, you have to consider a hydrogen boat like a diesel boat, not like an electric boat. It is far too heavy and too slow to generate hydrogen on board, so you'll need to refuel just like you will a diesel boat. The issue here is that there are only a handful of places in the world to refill your yacht with hydrogen. So you have a cruising boat that cannot cruise to any destinations, making the weight savings and the power your yacht has from hydrogen pretty much irrelevant. Next, let's talk about apparent wind speed limits. Apparent wind speed limits will dictate the yacht's overall performance and the level at which the structure, the foils, and the standing rigging are engineered to. For HH catamarans, we use a hull fly scenario. This would not work for a flying yacht, like some of the models being proposed by, say, Nemesis Yachts. This would be something that the naval architect would have to get absolutely perfect, and it all ties into the weight of the entire project. The more weight, the more stress, and the higher the engineering requirement is for all the components. Just making it heavier again, and increasing the size of the foils underwater, thus increasing drag. The cycle continues. I know that Nemesis Yachts is advertising a 45-knot yacht, but thinking through the engineering requirements and a few of the systems that you would absolutely have to be somewhat comfortable to live on board, I don't really know if that's realistic. Third, let's talk about refrigeration. Refrigeration will be a very big issue for weight as it ties both into range and power generation. Some companies are proposing a modular type structure that allows you to plug and play certain components of the yacht depending on what type of mode you intend on using the yacht in. My concern here is, what does that leave you with in flying mode? How are you going to strip enough weight out of this thing and still maintain a proper yachting experience, if that is your goal? Even if you take a look at the G4 flying catamaran, it is a stark experience and you're barely even able to live aboard it for a weekend, let alone 3 weeks at a time. This is a great segue to talking about weight as well. I've already mentioned this in a few places and how it's not exactly your friend. So let's get into some of the reasons why this is an issue when you want to fly a live-aboard yacht. Keep in mind that the AC-75s are 8 metric tons heavy ship displacement. Right now in the construction of our 88, we have a floatable hull. We haven't installed any running systems, refrigeration, wiring, cabin top, any furniture. And we're already at 9 metric tons with a 100% carbon yacht. When fully complete, our yacht will weigh between 55 and 60 tons. HH Catamarans is only responsible for about 40% of that overall weight, or 24 tons at 88 feet. The remaining 60% comes from all the other components and amenities that we want on board. Refrigeration, air conditioning, generators, water makers, you name it. I know we are definitely leaning more towards the comfort end of the spectrum, which does make us heavier than other yachts of comparable size. But even then, if we were to strip down and had few to no creature comforts, we still wouldn't even be able to fly. Here are a few weights of different items that you would absolutely require in order to live on board for up to 3 weeks at a time. A few of those items are water makers, 1,000 kilos each, generators, 245 kilos each, tools, spares, and fenders, about 1,000 kilos in total, plumbing, another 1,000 kilos, ground tackle, 600 kilos, all of your sails and rigging, that's another 1,500 kilos, diesel engine, 340 kilos each, fire suppression, 3,000 kilos, paint, just primer, another 1,000 kilos, and finally hydraulic control systems for your sails. That's another 1,000 kilos. All of that adds up to a whopping total of 10,470 kilos, or 10.5 tons. As you can see, this isn't exactly just a matter of 5 pounds here, 10 pounds there. Some of these are critical systems that weigh a lot, and they're not easily gotten rid of. I'm going to leave you here with that weighing on your mind. Haha, get it? Weight joke. No, but seriously, I'm going to end the episode here for now. I've got lots more to say on the topic, but I'm going to break it up to make it a little bit more digestible. I really hope you enjoyed this and liked learning more about the possibility or the reality of flying yachts. If you haven't already, please check out our social media, Instagram and Facebook, for more content. And if you have any questions or want to talk boats, please reach out to me directly at sketchtosea@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you again soon.